Hey everyone, and welcome to IG8Live Esports this evening. We're here once again with PGL F1 Sunday Division for, I think it's round 21 right about now in the season. Alright, sorry about that. I think I had something on that wasn't supposed to be on, but I think we should be fine now. Anyway, we should be getting ready for a extremely long session this evening, longer than usual, because we're gonna be doing a regular full qualifying session, but we're gonna be doing a 100% race distance, which means we'll probably be on for the race for at least probably an hour, 45 minutes. And why am I off the session right about now? Okay, sorry about that. Bit of a disconnection does happen sometimes. Hopefully, we're not going to be dealing with that on the new one. As far as I know, I don't think it's been happening so far on the beta version, but we'll see what happens by the time that gets out and if we're going to be having the same issue. Anyway, we should be getting back on here right about now. So, as I said, we're getting started with our full qualifying session. Into qualifying one already, so we got a few cars currently out on track, just running their out laps, and we're still getting an error code for some reason. Alright guys, give me a second, let me see what's happening here. Oh guys, finally back on. Thanks to these guys for getting the extra invites in. I think I got like about 15 invites during that disconnection, but I think we're fine now. I had to restart the game just to get back on the lobby. Not sure what's happening with that. Either way, we're back on, and we're down to about 12.5 minutes left in qualifying one. Still not too bad. We didn't really miss too much. We got a few lap times in already here, though. Mikey currently with the fastest lap time, 107.7. Extreme is currently second, 107.8, only off by a tenth. So off to a pretty good start so far. We got a few 108s, Neil and Vintage there, separated by at least a few tenths as well. And then we got Smitty and Darren with a 109, separated by at least 4 tenths. So far so good in Q1, at least with the cars that are currently out on track. Let's have a look at some of our other drivers currently who's on a hot lap. I think Cody might be on a lap here. I was trying to have a look and see where he's going with that Ferrari, but definitely looks like he's on a very fast lap. Might be able to finish that pretty well. Let's get a few details up on the screen so we can have a look at what exactly is going on here as well. I don't think we need that. We'll just keep lap data on for now and see how this is going to go by the end of Q1, at least what sort of lap times we're going to be looking at. And we should be able to have a look at the weather conditions later on, getting that information from the drivers itself and see what's going to be happening throughout the qualifying session and the race session itself. And by the way guys, this is for the Brazilian Grand Prix. We did not get to mention that during the disconnections down at the start of it. And remember, it is a 100% race after the full qualifying, so we're going to be here for a bit of a while, so should be an interesting and very long session. And we'll see how well it's going to go. We have one more race left after this. Well, 2 races in one, I would say. That's going to be next week to close off the season. And after that, we're going to be on a bit of a break, I assume, till the new game is out. And we'll be posting a few updates by the time we get around to that. And I think the guys probably will be doing a few races in between here and there by the time we get around to that as well. Not too far off right about now. So for now, we're just going to be focusing on this week and next week here with PGL, and then we'll see what follows onwards from that. So Cody goes 108.6, puts himself up into 5th so far. Not a bad position to be in. Going down here to Calum in 15th, having a look. He's done a purple sector 2 there. I want to see if he's able to transition that over to Sector 3. I'm not sure how his Sector 1 time was, but currently seems to be going pretty fast and might be able to make a decent lap time there. And Neil confirming it should be dry, hopefully for both, for the race and the qualifying session itself. Of course, sometimes there is a bit of unexpected rain coming down in qualifying. We'll see how that works out. Currently, Callum up into 3rd there, and not a bad position for him to be in. Got Nick on an outlap. I think a few more drivers on outlaps right about now. We got 19 drivers total in the lobby at the moment, so good to see that happening. Hopefully we can get at least one more driver join on and have a full grid for this race here. So Clarky currently on a lap here. He just finished that and gets a 107.2. Not a bad start here in Q1 for him. Draft there though, getting a 106.8, fastest time in the session so far, and puts him up in P1. That actually might hold up pretty well for now at least. Getting back down here to Nick, who I think just began a hot lap as well. So let's have a look and see where he's gonna be going with this one. A pretty fun track to have a 100% race as well. And I think most of the guys will probably be hoping that the weather conditions stay dry throughout the race. We'll see if that's going to be the case or not. It seems to be the expected weather condition here at the moment. It should be dry all the way through. But I never know what's going to happen. We'll see how that's going to go. I think we got a few more drivers trying to get out. Maddie there on a hot lap as well in the Ferrari. So we'll see where he goes at the end of this. Usually puts in a pretty good lap time. We will, of course, have a look at the current standings for driver and constructors a little bit later on in the session, probably during the race itself, as we know things are going to be slowing down just a little bit at some points, seeing that it is going to be 100%. rather than a 50. So let's see what happens in terms of those standings there and what's been happening so far after the last race last week at Italy, which was quite an interesting one as well. If you haven't seen that, it is up on the channel there, so please do have a look at it. Also, for everyone currently joining us on with this stream here, welcome to all of you guys on here, and please do remember to leave a like on the stream, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch watching us here at the moment. So second for Nick at the moment at 107.205, goes at least about 100th of a second faster than Clarky. So we got some pretty competitive lap times here for the session so far today, and I think just a few more drivers left to get our lap times in. Serious Mushroom out on track here in the McLaren at the moment. He's still on an outlap, so we're gonna wait just a bit to see what sort of lap time he's gonna bring in. We do have we got Christophs, we got TTV Ryan, and we got Walker and Beefy still in the pits. Haven't made a lap time in this session as yet. Safdar, unfortunately, and I'm not even sure how, he is currently out of the qualifying session. Not sure, he had a qualifying ban, I'm not aware of, I'm not sure, but he is out of the session. Either way, that means he will be starting down in the back of the grid for the race itself, which really, I don't think it's going to be too bad for him. He might be able to make up quite a few positions on that race start itself. So we'll see how well the session itself will go when you get to that race. Still got some time to get over to that. We got 6.5 minutes left in Q1 to close this off, and just waiting to see a few more lap times in. And as it's going so far, as I said, it's going pretty well. We got 106, we got a few 107s, a few 108s, and still both Renault drivers were currently with their 109s there. That's Darren and Smeedy there. But still not bad lap times. We still got a few drivers out of this, so let's see what's going to happen. Remember, it's usually just supposed to be top 15 going on over into qualifying 2. As it is right now, we got 19 drivers in the session. 1 is out. Let's see how that's going to affect things. As I currently invalidated a lap there from Serious Mushroom. He's going to have to try that one again, unfortunately. But he still does have enough time to work with in the session, so I don't think he needs to be too worried about it at this point here. I think he's going to try for another lap here right about now in the McLaren, running on those same set of tires. Of course, doesn't matter how many laps he does on them. It's just Q1, just basically to get on over to Q2 at this point. Got Darren getting back out on track there in the Renault. Doesn't want to be stuck in 13th. I don't think his teammate is going to be want to be stuck there in 12 as well, because I think he's already on another hot lap here. Let's have a look, and definitely is. So let's see if VRL Smitty can get a faster lap at the end of this hot lap here. Possibly should. Currently with a 108.6. Just needs to get it maybe into the 107. I think we'll keep him pretty safe of going over to qualifying 2 at that point. Either way, let's see how that's going to end. Serious Mushroom still on his current hot lap. Probably finishing off that pretty soon. And let's see if he does get a interesting time. And is he about to go across the line right about now? And goes, where does he go? Actually, he goes B4, so not a bad time as well. At 107.5, that's going to put him in a pretty good spot of actually making it on over to qualifying 2 at this point. So I see Draft is out. I think he's quite happy with his time. Does actually expect that that is going to be holding it off to take him over to Q2, so I don't think he's too worried about that. Once again, thank you to everyone currently liking this stream, and anyone who is sharing the stream links out. Thank you very much as well. We appreciate you guys helping us out doing that. Walker on a lap here at the moment. Just did a purple sector 1 in the Williams, and looking pretty good at getting possibly into the top 5 here. Let's see where he goes at the end of this, and actually just messed that up. Probably my fault of just talking about it with him. And he's gonna have to try again. He's limited on time here right about now though, so he's gonna have to be a bit careful. He is usually one to get out on track a bit late in qualifying in terms of getting his lap time in, but that does mean that you're very limited with time, and you gotta make sure you don't mess it up, which he just did. So he's gonna have to try again. Let's see how that works. We got TTV, Ryan, and Christoph still into the pits, not out as yet. Beefy still in the pits there. Not sure what their aim is. Are they trying to start at the back of the grid, or will they be getting out for at least one go at this? Oh, there we go. Beefy's getting out on track here right now in the Red Bull. I think he's one of the contenders right now for the Drivers' Championship. So definitely looking forward to see how the points are going to work out before the season closes off next week. We might be settling off the Drivers' Championship this evening here in terms of points. We'll see how that's going to go, and does depend what happens exactly. But we'll have a look at the standings as it is during the race itself, so we can keep an eye on what's happening in terms of drivers and who should be getting points to possibly get another position up. Of course, some of those battles will be going all the way to next Sunday for the final race day, I would say, and let's see what's going to happen, as we're going to be having 250% races at I think at Bahrain, I'm sorry, at Great Britain on Silverstone track, so should be fun there as well. Alright, so we're going to keep it on here with BP at the moment, see where he goes by the end of this lap. He's currently 15th, right on the drop zone of getting knocked off of qualifying 2 at this point, which really is not going to be a good thing for him, especially with where he is in a championship at the moment. So I think he does need to get a time in. Now he's down to 16 because someone just got a faster time in, and that's possibly Walker there, who just went up to P4 at 107.4 for him. Not a bad time. We'll hold him on over to go into the next qualifying session. Alright guys, so Beefy goes 107.497, just about 900 per second slower than Walker's time, so not too bad so far. Does put up in a pretty good position of not getting knocked off the qualifying 2 session. At the moment, we do have Darren, Safdar, Ryan, and Kristaps in that drop zone. Of course, Safdar already out, as we said. He's going to have to start down at the back of the grid. Darren on another out lap at the moment, should be getting started with that lap. Less than 33 seconds to go here at the moment. Most of our cars will be retiring off the session, as Ryan is currently on his final lap here at the moment. I think he has Smitty in front of him on a hot lap there as well. So let's see how this ends here in Q1 for them. But we got some interesting lap times. It's pretty close up between most of our guys, as we can see there. I think it's going to get a little bit more interesting going over to qualifying 2 and qualifying 3. We'll see how it's going to work. But at the moment, as we can see, lap times are actually pretty good, especially those 107s that we have going at least for the top 10. And Draft there in P1 currently at 106.8. Pretty impressive time from him. I want to see if he's able to transition that over to Q2 and Q3 and possibly be starting on a provisional pole here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, because at a lap time like that definitely could keep him P1 throughout all of the sessions. We'll see how that's going to work. Ryan invalidated his lap there. That's unfortunate, but that's going to be it for him. I think Neil and Smitty might be the only 2 drivers left running, but Neil seems to be invalidated as well. Smitty here running, about to get across the line. Does he improve from 15th? And he does go up to 12th on the grid now, 108.5, and I think that's going to hold him right there. I think Maddie might be running a lap, as well as Beefy's still out on track. I'm not sure if Beefy is running another lap though, or if he's just running an in-lap, getting back into the pits. We'll see what's going to happen. But Maddie here in the Ferrari looking to get a faster time, possibly. Not sure if he's going at full speed here at the moment, or just heading back to the pits. But either way, I think that's going to be it there for qualifying 1. We're going to have a look at the results in just a bit, and then head straight over into qualifying 2. And I think that's where things are going to start to get a bit more interesting in terms of lap times and tire strategy as well. We'll see what's going to happen with tire strategy for this one, because remember, it is a 100% race. These guys are going to be doing possibly an extra pit stop added rather than what they usually do with their 50%, so they're going to have to be a bit more careful about race strategy on this one. And hopefully they have tweaked their car setups just a little bit in terms of managing it for a 100% race on the track. in terms of tire conservation and whatnot, and saving fuel. So we'll see what the situation with that is going to be. All right, so qualifying 1 results as we have it so far. We got draft there in P1 so far, 106.8, fastest lap in the session from him. Nick currently second, Clark in third, Walker went fourth, we got Beefy fifth, Sears Mushroom in sixth, Atronax 7, Mikey 8, Extreme is 9th, we got Maddie in 10th, Callum there 11th, we got Smitty 12, Neil 13, Vintage 14, and looks like we got Cody in 15th, and Darren will have to start 16th, Salvador starting 17th. Unfortunately, Ryan they're not able to make a time, will have to start 18th, along with Christoph starting 19th. No time from them, and that's not good for Red Bull so far, because I think Beefy does need the extra points in for the constructors as well. I'm not sure, we'll have to have a look at the standings and see what exactly we're dealing with there later on. Okay, so welcome on over to qualifying 2. 15 minutes already started on the clock. And of course, in qualifying 2, these guys have to focus a lot on the race strategy itself and tires, because whatever tires they use in this qualifying session to make their fastest lap on track, they will have to start the race on that set of tires, provided it's a dry race start. Whether they do 2, 3, 4 laps on it, because they're going to be doing minimum amount of laps on it as well. So we'll be seeing a few cars running on softs. We'll be seeing some of the cars running on the mediums, some probably testing the mediums, then going to the softs. We're going to see what's going to happen. But yeah, either way, let's get a few stats up on screen at the moment so we can see what's fitted onto these cars and what these guys are planning to do here right about now. We got Atronac getting out of the pit lane here right about now. A bit of a funny exit on the pit lane. Gotta be a bit careful not to take any damage on the exit itself. And hello Games for Life, thank you for joining on the chat. Good to have everyone in. Remember guys, this stream is currently live on our main YouTube channel. It's live on Facebook and it's live on Twitch. Take your pick and watch from wherever you want at this point here, because I'm not even sure who how many people are watching from each of them, because I'm not able to check at the moment. We do have a few on Facebook, a few on YouTube, and I think a minimum number on Twitch, but yep, we're kind of split all the way around, so not too bad so far with that. Alright, so let's see what's happening on track here at the moment. Is Smitty already on a hot lap? That was actually pretty quick. So yep, he is already on a hot lap, as well as Neil there. So they're getting into this pretty quickly. Where is Neil on track? I want to have a look. Where is Neil? Because Neil is going to be running on the soft tires on this one. Bit of an interesting strategy with him. Now, of course, this is not a 50% race, so we're going to be looking at things just a bit differently here right about now. And he invalidates, so unfortunately, he's going to have to try it again. On with draft here, see where he's going to go at the end of this. Now, being it's a full 100% rate, these guys got to be careful with it. They're going to have to use the soft tires at least once for a stint in the race itself, because seeing it's a dry race, they have to use both at least 2 different tire compounds in the race. It's mandatory. And we don't expect any rain, especially for the start, so they're gonna have to use it either way. We'll see what's gonna happen in that case. But I don't know why we're migrating hosts at the moment, and I think our host got disconnected, which is why we got disconnected. So we'll be right back in just a second, guys. Not sure what's happening. Okay, so back on once again. I'm not sure what's wrong with all the disconnections here this evening, but either way, we're back on once again. See what's happening on track. So a few lap times in so far. Now, as you remember, from qualifying 1, the fastest time we had on track was at 106. Currently, we're dealing with a different situation, of course, different tires being used on the cars. And let's see what these guys have done so far in terms of lap times with their tires. So Astronaut currently goes fastest in the session at 107.3, and he's done this on the softs. Of course, extremists are 108.1 on the mediums. Pretty impressive so far compared to everyone else who's done a lap behind of him on soft and mediums there as well. So Cody down in 4th on the mediums at 108.5. Smitty there in 3rd at 108.4, just about a 10 faster on those softs there. So doing pretty well on those mediums so far. I think the mediums have some decent pace here on the track. Either way, let's see the rest of the drivers are going to go. We got some other times getting in. Mikey down to 6, 108.6. Droff there in 7. Currently not the best lap time from him. I think he did have a bad lap there. Going to have to try it once again. Following on with Nick here at the moment. I think he just did a purple sector. I'm not even sure if that was a purple sector or not. I did see something purple. So it might have been a purple sector too. Alright, anyway, he's about to get across the line, so let's see where he goes. And goes third fastest in the session at 107.6. So I think we're aiming into the 107s at least here for qualifying 2 so far. We might be seeing back those 106, maybe down to the end of qualifying 2, or maybe as we get into qualifying 3. We're going to see what's going to happen in either case. But at the moment, it's going pretty well so far. Once again, with the lap times, let's see who else is currently out on track, as we got Serious Mushroom on a lap here at the moment. Down in sector 2, I think he just went into, no, not into sector 3 as yet. As you can see, guys, some of these guys are currently trying out the softs at first and then switching back over to the mediums to see what's happening on track in terms of how the tires are handling as well, which is what they're usually going to try and do just to make sure they can work out the best possible strategy for the race itself. So let's see what's going to be happening with that. But so far so good as we have it with lap times. We can see quite a mix of strategies going on. Astronaut currently still in P1 in the session with the soft tires, but he did a 107.3. Most of the cars behind him have done their laps on the medium tires so far. Sorry, we might see a few of those cars switch on over to the soft tires going down further on to the end of the session. We'll see what's going to happen, but at the moment as we have it, I think most cars are just trying it on the mediums. We got a few cars on the bottom trying on the softs right about now. I see Neil has done his lap time at 109.0 on the softs at the moment. Now, as we have it at this point here, right about now, we get Maddie back out on track, trying a hot lap here. It's only going to be the top 10 going on over to qualifying 3 at this point, so they're going to have to be a bit careful about this. And try to make it as best as they can over to qualifying 3. That's where they will compete by themselves in the top 10 for the best possible starting position into this race. And it's really not an extremely long run getting down into turn 1 to that left-hander there for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix. So it's going to be a bit tricky, especially in the midfield going down to the back of the grid. We'll have to keep an eye and see how that race start is going to go. Hopefully, everyone does take it a bit easy, as I think they've been a bit warned about that as well by the league admins, because we don't want majority of the cars getting taken out on the opening lap of the race, because we got quite a number of laps to go into this one. Currently, Maddie up to 4th at 107.8. Not a bad time. Will hold off pretty well for him for now, at least. I think Beefy about to get started on his lap here in the Red Bull. Let's see where he goes on this one. Once again, as we said, he does need to get a good time in and make it on over to qualifying 3 to keep the battle for the championship going on here today. So might be some pressure on him in terms of getting points for this race. We'll see what happens. And welcome to Milan on stream. And yes, it has been quite a long time. I haven't heard from you in quite a while. Not sure what you've been up to in the past while, but good to have you on my stream once again there. I see Walker's finally gotten out on track. Once again, as usual, he usually gets out a bit late on track to get his lap times in. I'm not sure why. Probably just has everyone warming it up a bit for him before he does get out. We're going to stick around with, I think Beefy's messed up his lap, so I don't think he's going to be finishing that off either way. Trying to have a look and see if Vintage will be finishing this lap. Doesn't seem to be pushing as much as expected. But let's either way, let's see how that's going with him in the AlphaTauri there. Currently down in 15th and definitely in a drop zone there. So he needs to get a lap time better than at least a 108.4 here to put himself in a pretty good position. Droff there, who was P1 in qualifying 1, is currently 13th on the grid here because he's not able to get a good lap in. Currently with a 114.4 and he's down to 13th. So needs to get a way better time in and hopefully is able to push that car over to Q3, and we'll see what's going to happen in that case. Vintage trying to another lap here at the moment because he just did a 116.0. That's not going to hold up too well. Walker already on a hot lap and just did a purple sector 1, so looking good so far. I think that time might actually hold off for him pretty well for the moment. We got less than 4 minutes left here in qualifying 2. And that 107.3 is looking pretty good so far. I think either way it's going to take him over to qualifying 3. But I highly doubt he's going to be able to get a faster time on those mediums to get her back right about now. So I think his strategy is to start on the soft tires and run a short stint for his pit stop. And then get onto the mediums, I guess, do a soft medium maybe for the race. We'll see what race strategy is going to look like by the time we get around to the race start and stuff, to the formation lap. We'll have a look at these kind of stuff and see what's going to happen. Walker is up to 5th right about now in the grid here, 107.8 for him. Goes just above Maddie there by a few hundredths of a second, at least 600. So not too bad with the lap time. Who is currently running a lap? I think Neil just got a faster time in, and I'm sure where he went at the moment. Oh, he just went down actually, not even a faster time, but he's invalidated his current lap. We'll have to try it once again. Let's see if he does have enough time to he actually has enough time to get back across the line and get a possibly better lap time. Let's see what's going on with Draft here right now. I'm not sure if he was having trouble with the tires itself on the softs, but he's running on the mediums here right about now and about to get across the line. Let's see if he does go faster and gets a 107.2, goes a 10th faster than Atronak. And he actually did that on the mediums as well. So quite impressive with that lap time so far that he just got there. And that definitely will be able to take him on over into qualifying 3. So gonna be interesting to see how Q3 goes with our top 10. Nick has already retired off of this session. We got just about 2 minutes left, so most of our cars will be pretty happy with the lap times. I think it's just going to be those down at the bottom of the grid and trying to get a faster time in, especially Beefy here. As you said, he needs to make it on over to Q3 at this point. Needs to keep himself at the front of the grid as much as possible. And yep, we do have a draft back there in Milan, so it's interesting to see how his lap times are going to be compared to the rest of the grid going on through the session. So was fastest in Q1, currently fastest here in Q2, and we'll see if that's going to transition over to Q3 there as well, and if he's going to looking at getting a possible provisional pole start here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Does seem to be what the situation seems to be so far. On board with Beefy, and another error code. Why do we keep getting so much? I'm not even sure. Alright, back on once again. I'm really not sure what's causing all of this connection so far, but thanks to the guys for all the extra invites. I think we got at least 50 invites since the session started from this point, but at least we're getting back on pretty quickly, because I know in some instances it's actually pretty difficult to get back on the lobby sometimes, with depending on what sort of error is happening with the game itself. And as I said, hopefully this does not transition over to 2021, because that's going to be very annoying to deal with for a whole another year again, because they haven't fixed this one for the past year. So I highly doubt they're going to fix it if it continues on in 2021, but let's see what's going to happen. Either way, Beefy's up to third, 107.3, not a bad lap from him, and we're at the end of qualifying 2. Should be having a look at his results in just a bit. Seems like we're going to have Cody, Neil, Smitty, Callum, and Vintage out of qualifying 3, because with session being over and only Beefy actually running on track here, I highly doubt we're gonna have any more times in. He's getting back into the pits there right now. Okay, so results for qualifying 2. Draft once again got the fastest lap in the session, 107.2 in this instance. Extremist went second fastest. Beefy was third, not a bad position there for that. Atronak fourth, Clark in fifth, Mikey sixth this time, and Nick in seventh, Walker 8th, Maddie 9th, and Serious Mushroom there in 10th at the moment. That's our top 10 going over to Q3. Starting in 11th area is going to be Cody. Neil starts 12th. Smitty will have to start 13th. Callum starting 14th. And Vintage starting 15th. Alright, so on over, we're going to head straight into qualifying 3. And let's see if Draft can actually get provisional pole for the start of this race. Okay, guys, into qualifying 3 right about now, starting our 12 minutes, and after this, yes, we do get straight into the race session, which has been waited for the past hour, close to an hour at least. So another 12 minutes and we should be getting straight into that, and we're waiting for some of these drivers to get out on track. Everyone's going to be running on the soft tires, of course, for this one. So no need to even put that up on screen at this point. Let's just see who's going to be first to get out on track. Looks like we already got someone else out in front, and I'm trying to figure out who that is there at the moment. And looks like it is Walker getting out, surprisingly out first on track. In this case here, wants to get some clean air in front of him to get his hot lap going, I assume. So let's see what his lap time is going to look like on this one here. I think he's just trying to make sure he gets the invalidated laps out of the way and possibly get his actual lap times in before halfway through the session. Because as it's only 12 minutes, we're already down to 10, just under 11 minutes. Time is going to go very, very quickly here in Q3, so they have to be in a bit of a rush getting the lap times in before the session closes off. And it looks quite cloudy out on track. Not sure if we'll have maybe some minor drizzles or not, but we should be keeping it dry throughout the entire session, as far as I'm aware of. So let's see what's going to happen. He is going to be beginning his hot lap here just about now. So sector 3 about to get around. So let's see how that lap is going to go. We got quite a few cars behind of him. Atronak, the only one still in the pits there at the moment, not getting out as yet, probably just waiting just a little bit more before getting started. So we're going to have lap after lap time getting in here as everyone gets around the track. Nick is going to be the second one to get his lap time in, apparently there, as we can see. We'll see if we're going to have any invalidated laps here at this point as well. Looks like Maddie is going to be third on it. And of course, everything's going to be purple in terms of sector times here for Walker at the moment. Let's see how well he's driving on that wheel, because he has had quite a few races to actually catch up on practice in terms of that. Alright, so about to get back across the line here. Let's see where he goes with a lap time. Might be a 106, might be a 107. We'll see how fast he goes. And it's a 107.2. I think we got Nick getting across the line second. A 106.9 takes away provisional pole there. And I should be possibly Maddie coming across next. But he invalidated a lap. So I think we got a Red Bull coming. Possibly Beefy getting across the line next. And yep, it is. With two Mercedes behind of him. He goes 107.287, about just a few hundred of a second slower there. Draft goes up into first now, 106.5. His teammate Mikey into third, 107.2. So Draft already taking away provisional pole from these guys at the moment. And for now, we'll hold it on. We still got 8.5 minutes left for the other drivers to try and possibly get that away from him. Clarky here not getting a lap time as yet. He should be getting one at the end of this current lap that he's on here. Possibly invalidated the previous lap, which is I think what happened there. So we're going to wait to see what's going to happen at the end of this one. Atronac finally getting out on an outlap there at the moment. Clocky having a purple sector 1. This is going to come down to be very, very close between our top few cars there for provisional pole for this race. Because we already got Nick getting into the 106 there as well with a 106.9. He's only about 4/10 of the time of draft so far. So it's going to be interesting to see where these guys end up at the end of this session and how close off those lap times are going to be. And that shows that it's going to be quite interesting as well for the race session when we do get around to that. See, Waxwing is trying to join. Not sure if he's going to be our 20th driver on the list or not. We'll see what's going to happen with that. Alright, so Clarky goes up to second so far, 106.7. As we said, we do see a little bit of drizzle here right about now, which is possibly why Walker got out so early off in the session. Does kind of explain a lot there right about now. I think Waxwing is trying to join to be the 20th driver. I'm not sure what's happening, but we'll see what's going to happen. Either way, we got a bit of drizzle coming down here in Q3, which definitely changes things up quite a bit. Because whoever got the lap times in first will be able to stick with that. And the track temperature is going to drop, which means tire grip levels are going to be going down. And they're not going to be able to get as fast lap times as they were getting on a dry track. Let's have a look at our track here right about now. Currently did a 107.8. Not sure if he's trying to do another lap on that same set of tires there. We'll have a look and see what's happening. BV already unfortunately out of qualifying 3. He did make a lap time though, 107.287. We're gonna have to he'll have to just hope that that lap time keeps him at least in the middle of the top 10 there. Going off to the end with the weather conditions changing here at the moment as well. So we'll see what's going to happen in that case. But so far, so good at lap times. We got some 106 and 107s, no 108s. So at least we can say we're looking pretty competitive for our top 10 drivers that we do have to start this race. It should be a dry race start going on through the race itself. Not sure if we're going to have any sort of drizzle in the rain itself. We'll see when we do get to that point. It might change things up if we have some minor drizzle coming down in the race later on. But it might just happen. Who knows? We'll see what's going to be the case with that. Got a yellow flag situation with one of the Mercedes around here, I think. He's just getting to the side of the track. I think everyone's getting back into the pits here at the moment. I'm going to just put that on fitted to see if anyone is going to be taking a chance of running on intermediates out on track, which I highly doubt they will. We got just under 5 minutes left in qualifying 3, and weather conditions have drastically changed, meaning track temperature is going to definitely be dropping a lot. So I'm not sure what's going to be happening in terms of lap times here right about now, because we obviously they're not going to be able to get any faster lap times with the drizzle that's coming down here at the moment. So they're going to have to just possibly stay in the pits or possibly just try maybe a lap or two on the intermediates to close off the session if they wish. Or we might see everybody just retire off of the session. And that might just be because every single driver is back into the garages at the moment. No one running on track due to that minor rain that came down. And DRS is now offline, which means they cannot run these cars on the soft tires. It's not going to be giving them any sort of grip. They'll probably just be sliding all over the track, so no one's going to be risking. So let's see if anyone is going to choose to get out in the next less than 4 minutes that we have remaining here, or if they're just going to retire off the session and possibly head straight over to the race itself. If that's going to be the case, either way, it looks like Draft is going to be starting on provisional pole, and Clark is going to be starting in second behind of him. Nick's going to be starting third, as you can see so far. That's our top trader. But I'm going to leave it at that and wait until the end of the session. Never know what can happen, as I see Clarky has had the pit crew put a set of intermediates on his car there in the garage. I'm not sure if he's going to be getting out on track and possibly just trying a lap on them, just in case a situation like this does arise in the race itself. So we'll see what's going to happen with that, but at the moment it doesn't look like anyone else is going to be getting out on track. I think Waxwing is still trying to join the session. He might be our 20th driver to complete the grid. So let me go to if we can have a 20th on. That'll be actually a lot of fun to see full grid for this 100% race here. As you can see, conditions are very difficult on track, so majority of our drivers have retired off of the session except for Clarky and Atronak here, and I assume the two of them will possibly be retiring off in just a bit, as Clarky just seems to be having some fun on track. I'm not even sure what he's trying to do, but he's just sliding all the way around the track at the moment. He's possibly going to be getting back into the pits, or he's just trying to drift an F1 car around the track. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. We're going to have a look at it either way until session time is up and we can get straight on over to the formation lap and begin that 100% race and see how that race start is going to go. I expect a very clean start as usual from this league. We've had so many different clean race starts from the Sunday division. Even the Wednesday division has been the same thing for the few streams I've done for them, because a few drivers from here do racing there as well. But it's always been quite a clean start going on through. Not even a VSC or a safety car on that. We usually have incidents later on in the session, and usually that's how it goes. But we'll see how it's going to go. I think it's going to go a bit more interesting in this case here as well, because these guys do know that you can't win a race on the opening lap, but it does actually help getting up a few positions, so we might see them definitely trying to do that on the opening lap, getting through the first few turns. We'll see how that's going to go. It's going to get a bit competitive through. We might have some cars getting some damage here as well. I do expect that that's going to happen, but how extensive that damage is going to be, I'm not sure. But being it's a 100% race, they have a lot of time to actually do catching up in this race, so it's not going to be over for them if they do end up at the back of the grid from the front. So they still have time to catch up, work through their pit stop strategy, and possibly get back out in front of the grid and still score some decent points in this race. I'm really not sure what Clark is trying to do on track. I'm not even sure why we're watching him. I think it's just because he's the only car running. Alright, Clark, you can retire off now. I think everyone's retired off of the session. That includes Atronak there. So hopefully he just retires off the session and we can get a move on, because the time is up either way. We're just in a bit of overtime running for qualifying 3. No one else would have come out back to run on track with that condition that we currently have there. As you can see, he's just struggling for grip with those tires still, even though it's wet. I think he's just trying to have some fun though. Either way, that's going to be it. Okay, so let's have a look at the results here for qualifying 3. So starting provisional pole there, we got Draft getting that position once again, qualifying 1, 2, and 3. He has been in P1, so not too bad of a qualifying for them there. And Clarky there starting second on the grid, Nick starting third, Mikey starts fourth, Walker in fifth, Beefy 6, Extreme is 7, Maddie in 8, Serious Mushroom in 9th, and Atronax starts 10th there in the Racing Point. So a mix of teams up here in the top 10. Going to be a bit interesting as well to see how the restart goes with the top 10 as it is. We're going to have a look with Draft and Clarky for the opening first sector, at least for that race. We'll see what's going to happen. Anyway, getting around to the formation lap here in just a bit. So we're just waiting for everything to get set up for that. Once again, to everyone joining us on the stream, whether you're on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, thank you guys for joining on, and thanks to everyone who has currently liked the stream so far. Please continue doing that, guys, and make sure you guys follow us on Facebook and Twitch as well, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is usually the main one where we do most of the stuff, but currently everything is being done multi-streamed everywhere either way. So thanks for everyone who has followed us on Facebook and Twitch. I'm not even sure who's quite a few all the way around, so we're just going to keep it that way and going on through. Sorry about that, I just missed the research. Check something there, guys. Alright, at the moment we're just waiting for the guys to just get their race setups in. They're going to be selecting fuel and whatnot before we get started with the formation lap here itself. Okay, so getting started with our formation lap here right about now. As we can see, it's going to be a 100% race. It's going to be a very long 71 lap race here. So I guess get in line for this one. And let's see what our starting grid looks like. So we do have Draft starting in P1 here for this session. It's a very long race. Let's see if he's going to be able to keep that lead all the way throughout the race itself and possibly finish and win the Brazilian Grand Prix. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. We'll see how that works out for him, because he has been fastest in qualifying 1, qualifying 2, and qualifying 3. Clark is going to be starting second. Just behind of him was off by just about 2/10 or 200 per second, I think. So really pretty close up between the two of them in qualifying 3. So I think it's going to be a bit of competition for him going on the race start itself. Of course, we got Nick there in 3rd place, starting there. Mikey starts 4th, Walker starting 5th, Beefy starts 6th, Extreme starting 7th, Maddie starts 8th, Serious Mushroom starting 9th. We got Atronax is going to start 10th. We got Cody starting there in 11th. Neil starts 12th. VRL Smitty starts 13th. We got Callum starting 14th, Vintage in 15th, Darren 16th, Softdar there starts 17th, had a bad run in Q1. Ryan starts 18th, Christophs in 19th, and Waxwing, who joined on a bit later, is going to be our 20th driver starting 20th on the grid. And we're about to get reformed back here right about now. So let's see how this race start is about to go. And welcome to all of you that are joining us on the chat. Good to have him on, and I think he's rooting for Serious Mushroom here, who's currently starting 9th. So hopefully he does get a few positions up on the race start going through the first few corners here. So we'll see how well it goes. Of course, as usual, we're going to focus a bit on Draft and Clarky on that race start as they get away from the line, and then focus mostly on the midfield of the grid, going on to the back, which is where I think most of the action is going to happen. In at least in the first lap or so. So we're going to see if we're going to be able to catch any possible incidents. I know we're going to have some incidents happening there. Let's put that on position changes if we can, and keep on board with these two. Of course, Draft has the outside, Clarky on the inside, and let's see who gets a better run. Looks like Clarky gets a pretty decent start. He's going to try and keep alongside Draft into turn 1, and actually gets up into the lead there, puts the Mercedes down to second. Leaderboard is a bit mixed up. We're going to have to just ignore that for the moment. So the Alfa Romeo gets up into the lead. That's dropped down to second, and I think quite a few more changes happening down in the midfield of them. I don't think we have any major incidents happening. We might have some contact between a few cars going on through us. I think our leaderboard is set back I think setback art again, I'm not sure. Smitty all the way down to 14th. I think he's having some issues down the back there. Might have had some contact with another car as well. Not 100% sure about that. But as we have it, all 20 drivers still in this and going so far. Waxwing started in 20th, all the way up into 17th at the moment. Better contact between Serious Mushroom. Currently down to 11th. So lost at least about 2 positions so far there. We got a safety car for something's happened on track, probably an amount of debris on track, I'm not sure as yet, and we do have a few collisions happening in between the grid as we get on through that with Serious Mushroom. I think possibly Smitty there, I'm not sure, but definitely have some damage on a few cars there. Welcome Jay, thank you for joining on the chat there. So 3 cars with penalties so far in the race. Let's have a look at what the penalty situation is. And 5 seconds each for Serious Mushroom, Smitty, and Callum there. They will serve that for a 5-second stop-go penalty when they do their pit stops. This is when they do their first pit stop, because this is at least going to be 2 or 3 stopper for most of these guys here. We're going to see what's going to happen. Still under a full safety car here as we're getting around to the pit entry here in just a bit under the safety car though. So let's see if anyone is going to choose to do a pit stop. Okay, so following under the safety car right about now, Clarky now leads the race. He got that lead away from Draft in the 4th sector on that opening lap there. So really good move from him. Having the inside, I think, giving a bit of an advantage, and he did seem to get a bit of a better start. So gets away with the lead. Now under the safety car, not going to be too happy about it. I think he was hoping to get a lead away from Draft, but Draft still in 2nd just behind of him. Nick running there 3rd. We got Mikey up to 4th here. Walker running 5th. BP in 6th. Atronax 7. Maddie 8. Cody 9th. And Extremist 10th for the top 10 so far. Serious Mushroom has dropped down at least 2 positions down to 11. Smitty there down to 12. Had a bit of an issue in that start as well. I don't think anyone has chosen to take a pit stop on this occasion so far under the safety car, which you would expect to happen, but being it's a very long race, some minor damages on these front wings will actually allow these guys to still continue on in the race as normal. They will have some trouble navigating some portions of the track. I think we see, I'm not sure, is that Walker's car having some damage on the front wing? I think I noticed an end plate missing off of a Williams here. I'm not sure if that was him. I'm trying to have a look right about now. We'll have a look in just a bit. Welcome to Wildflower joining on the chat there as well. Actually, no, Walker is not missing an end plate. His car is fine. But I think someone is missing an end plate. I'm not even sure who that is at the moment. But yeah, I know we do have a few cars with some minor damage on them. We'll see what's going to happen in that case. So still going to be under the safety car at least for a lap more before we get back racing. Possibly, hopefully, the end of this lap we should be able to get back racing. And Ryan, unfortunately, is out of this race. I'm just noticing that actually there. So he is for some reason out of the race there. And, well, I won't say it's too bad so far. But we've unfortunately lost 1 driver out. We still got 19 to work with. So hopefully this is going to be an interesting race that finishes off with majority of the drivers. We know we might lose a driver or 2 more before we get to that halfway point. We'll see what's going to happen. Now, this is a pretty long race for drivers to commit to as well, to sit on their, whether they're on a controller or on a wheel. It's actually pretty difficult to sit for that amount of time through on a 1 hour qualifying and then close to about a 2-hour race session to be on. It's really not that easy, so got to give it to the guys for sticking to it on this one, and hopefully they carry on through all the way to the end of the race, and hopefully we don't have any cars retire off early off in the race. And I'm gonna say it, yep, do not retire off early in the race just because you don't see a chance of getting points. We did mention that earlier. Admins did mention it to the guys as well. We got a safety car coming in on this lap, because remember that might affect them going into the next season with F1 2021. Welcome to Holly joining on the chat. Thank you guys for joining. Alright, so we're about to get back restarted here. Let's see how that restart is going to go. I think Clark is going to hold off to his lead, at least for now. We're going to see what's going to happen in the midfield as we get around to that here. So, I think Clark is about to get back started here right about now. Remember, there's no overtaking until they get across the line, which these guys are just about to do there. So, let's see how that goes with them. Nick pretty close off to drop there though. We got a car going way wide down in the back there. I think that was Mikey in the Mercedes. He's having some trouble, maybe missed his braking zone, and he's falling quite a way down, all the way down in the back of the grid. That's really not a good place for him to be there. Atronac here trying to get around the outside of Beefy on a Red Bull. but has to hold it back in 6 at least for now. They're gonna have to be just a bit extra careful with the overtakes on this one here. They're not gonna want to risk taking damage to their cars or risk causing an incident in the race. It is very long, as you said, it's a very long race. We'll see when pit stops will tend to happen. Trying to have a look on board here right about now, see what's happening with Beefy out in front. He's chasing after Walker here at the moment, which should be a bit interesting with these two. See how that's going to work. Beefy up into 5th at the moment and running. Walker running in 4th, and he's trying to keep it there at least for now, but 3/10 is what the gap is between him and Beefy down behind. Actually, another 2/10 behind, so going to be really interesting to see how well these guys hold up that gap. Out in front, let's have a look what's happening with our race leader here at the moment, because we got Clark is still leading, and we got the Mercedes of Draft just trying to go alongside him here at the moment. 3/10 behind, closing that gap as fast as he can. He's definitely trying to get the overtake we're done with, but I'm not sure Clark is going to make it that easy on him. Trying to pull off on the inside and getting a bit blocked off, ending up on the grass as well, and still pushing on through. Close, still keeps the gap within about 3/10, and definitely isn't giving up on this one. I think this is going to be an interesting battle between these two. It might end very badly though if they are not careful about it. So let's see how much of a hurry Draft is in here to get back into the lead. Of course, running this close behind that Alfa Romeo, he's running in a lot of dirty air, and that's going to damage off his front tires very quickly and cause him some issues a bit later on before he actually is able to take his pit stop. Might have to take a pit stop maybe a lap or two earlier, depending on how fast those fronts wear away. And he's going to have to be careful with the rears as well, because he's pushing quite hard to keep up with Clarky here at the moment. I think down in the rest of the grid, we have a bit of a gap starting to go just a bit with most of our drivers. And let's see, we should have DRS online back again for the guys here. Yeah, there we go. So DRS is now back online. That's going to be helping out Draft quite a bit. Let's get along with Extremist and Cody here, see what's going on with these two. So Extremist has gotten up into 8th position away from the Ferrari at the moment. I think he's really trying to hold off on that position. We got Smitty coming behind, so he's pretty close up. Let's see how that's going to work. Out in front, I'm trying to keep an eye on these two here, because they seem to be fighting pretty hard in terms of getting that race lead. Clarky definitely wants to keep it, and Drop definitely wants it back. So let's see how long he's actually able to hold off Drop behind, because it's going to be, the gap is not going over 3/10 at the moment. Between 2 and 3/10 is what we're keeping here. Now we got Nick just sitting in 3rd there. He's having an interesting look at these two out in front to see what's happening with that fight, and probably hoping they take each other out and he can just take over the lead of the race. But let's see what the case is going to be with that. We got a few penalties handed out in the race so far. Drivers are going to want to be a bit careful about that as well, because it will affect track positions and finishing positions at the end of this race. Going back out in front with these two once again. As you can see, that DRS is now helping with Drop there in those zones to help him keep up with Clarky's car. Of course, Clarky not getting any DRS advantage as no car in front of him. He is the one currently leading and needs to hold on to that lead for, well, a very long time at this point here right about now, gotta say, because we're going to see if Draft is able to get him coming up to the pit stops. But of course, these guys are running on the medium, so they're going to be running quite a few more laps before actually doing a stop here. So we'll see how that works. But so far, so good. We got Kristaps and Cody down in the back there. Pretty close up between those two. See if we can have a look, actually see what's happening in the midfield here at the moment. We got these 3 cars. We got Smitty, Kristaps, and Cody still finding it off for P9 at the moment. I think Extreme is just a bit out for the in front. So I don't think he's too worried about these cars behind him at the moment. They're probably just concerned about each other. So we'll see how that's going to close off for them. As we can see with tires, it's a mix of strategies going on throughout the grid. So those on the softs will have to do an earlier pit stop on those on the mediums. Let's see how long those soft tires are going to last here at Brazil. Looks like Actronaut currently holds on to the fastest lap there. 1:11.3 is currently up into 5th. I think he just got ahead of Beefy there. So he's splitting between Beefy and Walker at the moment. So he's not a bad position he's gained there. Let's see if he's able to hold on to the position going on through. We got Kristaps in a Red Bull, and I think, I'm not even sure what happened. It does look like he hit the wall, but that was maybe a bit of a glitch. Or probably a bit of a lag on his end. I'm not even sure what happened. But either way, he seems to be fine and still going. Unless you guys got some cheat codes going on PlayStation, I'm not even sure. But let's get back out in front. See where our race leaders are at the moment. So still, these guys are still chasing after each other for the lead. We still got Nick there running third. Walker still running fourth. Atronak is now up to fifth, of course. Beefy now running sixth. Has lost one position so far. Maddie down to 7. Extremist running 8. Gaps are still pretty decently close between most of our cars, as we can see so far. I think Clark is going to have a difficult time throughout this entire race, just keeping that lead as it is there. I think he got at least about 62 laps more maybe to go here before closing off this race, and that's a really long time to be defending. And there looks like Droff was trying to go around the outside, but Clarky takes it back from the inside and holds back onto the lead. I think Droff was going to get a bit excited there for a second, but unfortunately he lost that back and doesn't want to risk losing the car in the race. So if he does have to give it back, he will give it back and just keep following on and try once again as soon as he gets another chance. I think he's going to line them up for this one, and possibly this is going to be a bit of a waiting game for Droff down in a second in terms of getting that position away back from Clarky there. But Clarky definitely not giving up at this point. We'll see where he is in the championship later on as we get further into this race. I think we got a bit of a lag issue going on with some of our drivers here as well. So still running with our 19 drivers in. Unfortunately just one loss so far. Let's go on down to Atronak here, who's currently chasing after Walker there in fourth, and he has the DRS advantage. Of course, Beefy just behind has some DRS advantage as well. He's able to keep up with the racing point at the moment. Not sure if he's even going to be able to get it overtake and get past, but I think he's keeping up and possibly hoping he can follow on through if Atronak is able to get on through and pass Walker here. But he might want to get a little bit closer off to that racing point to see if he's able to carry on through with that overtake here. I think Walker is starting to extend back his lead just a bit, about 4 tenths ahead, but really not too much. Let's have a look from Nick's perspective here and see what's happening in front of him. So he's actually still pretty close off with the 2 cars in front of him fighting for the lead of the race, and he is here in third. Still on a podium position, so I think he's not going to be disappointed about that. Darren keeps getting quite a few penalties down in the back there in 16th. Natural he has at the moment. We'll have to have a look at penalties in just a bit, see where we are with that so far. But top 3 are running pretty close after each other. Nick now gets the fastest time at 1:11.3, so he's looking pretty good behind there. I think he just doesn't really want to get too involved with those 2 cars in front of him. He's just being a little bit cautious and just hoping to see what's going to happen. Remember, it is a long race, guys, 71 laps, so no need to be in a bit of a hurry to get an overtake done. These guys are just going to be taking it a bit easy. And let's see how that's going to work out for them. So let's get on through the rest of the grid. Walker here running 4th. We got Atronak just behind of him by a 10th or 2, running there in 5th. I'm definitely looking to get an overtake here. We got Beefy and the Red Bull coming just behind, so he's keeping up as much as he can. About 5 tenths is where the gap is, really not too far off, so this is going to work as well as it can so far for him. Now, we haven't gotten to the point of pit stops as yet, and it looks like Darren is out of this race. I'm not sure, did he retire in the pits or not? Because they're not supposed to be doing that. Either way, when we have back a look at the stream, we'll know what happened either way. For now, we're going to continue on with our 18 drivers left in the session here. And there goes Walker and Atronak side by side. I think Atronak still has to hold it back into 5th. Walker went a bit wide on the track, but still trying to get back his position as the inside. And definitely fighting against that racing point to keep the position here at this point. Beefy just behind of this, watching on and see what's happening, and they're getting quite close between that Williams and Racing Point at the moment. Surprisingly, no one has taken any damage off of this. Actually, about 4 to 5 cars following on behind with this battle going on through, but I think the focus is on Atronak and Walker out in front. I think Beefy's a little bit more focused on Maddie catching up to him, about 2 tenths behind. So that Ferrari definitely looking for a gap to work with there as well. Cody is out of the race, unfortunately, and that's caused a virtual safety car. I think it's happened. I'm trying to see where it's happened. Let's see if we can have a look here on board with Vintage at the moment. And there's his car at the side of the track. I'm not sure, was he trying to get into the pit lane or not, but he seemed to have hit the barriers and unfortunately is out of the race. That's 3 drivers lost so far. Let's get back out in front here and see what's happening. So a virtual safety car doesn't last very long. It's just so that they can clear the damaged car off track and clear off any debris that's currently on track. So that's going to be over pretty soon. That now leaves us with 17 drivers to go to the end of the race here. Let's see how fast we're going to get back restarted. Okay, so we're back racing again. DRS back online, and gap within Clarky and Druff is about 6 tenths. I think it's extended just a bit behind, well, just running under the virtual safety car, so it's back on again. Let's see what's happening. Does look like Clarky was disconnected for a second there. I'm not sure. It keeps going on and off. I'm not sure if they're having connection issues. We seem to be having a lot of that today. I'm not sure if it's something on the server itself or what is happening, but hopefully everything goes up pretty well. Going back down here to Extremis here at the moment, going side by side right about now with Maddie in the Ferrari, and gets up, keeps 7th position in the race at the moment. Still about a 10 behind is that Ferrari there, so let's see if he's able to get back to position. Out front, I think they're just trying to close back the gap as much as they can, because it's back down to about 4 tenths between Clarky and Druff for that lead. Nick is now about 1.7 seconds behind Druff, so he's lost his DRS advantage. Walker has no DRS advantage there as well, so we'll see how that's going to work out with him. Let's have a look and see how close actually he is. So he's not really that close. There's a few seconds behind to catch up here at the moment. We do have Atronak though just behind him, so still chasing him down for P4 in the race. And there he drove into the pits to retire. Kept getting a penalty for going over the apex at turn 7. That was a glitch happening there. That was why that happened with him. Because I was wondering why he was getting so many penalties. Now that makes sense. Thanks for responding, Darren, because I wasn't sure why you were getting so many penalties in a race. It really didn't make sense. That usually does not happen, especially here in PGL. So unfortunate for Darren, there had a bit of a glitch on his end, kept getting a penalty, going over one of the apexes on the track. And we've seen a lot of different penalties happen due to a glitch sometimes. So can't say I don't believe him on that one there. Unfortunate to see him out of the race though, so let's see what's happening here. We do currently have at least 4 cars with penalties. We're going to have a look at their penalties in just a bit. See what's happening with that case. Unfortunate to see Serious Mushroom down in 17th on the grid right about now. He's running on the hard, so let's see how much of a long stint he's going to push on those and see what is going to happen there. Trying to follow on down the back. I'm looking for every possible close gap that we have here, and this is not a close. I'm not even sure why it's showing that way. I think it's a bit stuck with the delta times here at the moment. Anyway, we are on with Draft here, following on with Clarky, and they're about to lap Serious Mushroom there, because he's quite a way back, which is expected to happen sometimes during a 100% race. And definitely we do seem to be having some connection issues here today, because we can see a few cars sometimes lagging a bit on track. Gap is getting extensively close between Clarky and Draft here at the moment as well. I think these two are going to be at it for the entire 71 laps, probably going on through. It might ease off a bit when one of them decides to take a pit stop. We'll see if both of them are going to be taking a pit stop at the same time, because Draft might just follow Clarky into the pit lane when he does decide to do his pit stop, because they're both running on 15 laps on both with medium tires right about now. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this works out with them. Gap is just a tenth between the two of them here right about now. It's getting very, very close. Serious Mushroom is now been lapped by 2 cars so far. Unfortunately, down in the back, still has some time to catch up in the race. And there goes Draft trying to take it around the outside of Clarky. Let's see if he's able to get it over with. And Clarky fighting back on the inside, pushes him a bit wide. And they're still going side by side for that lead. I think Clarky is on the outside at the moment, going on to the next turn. You do have a bit more better of an advantage if you do have the inside, and almost lost the car, but still holds on to the lead here at the moment. But an extremely good attempt from Draft there, and he still holds on to second at least for now. But we definitely have some connection issues going on, because I do see quite a few cars lagging on track. Unless it's my end, I'm not even sure. But either way, let's see what's happening so far. So gap is now down back to about 4 to 5 tenths between these two, and they're going to continue on. They're on lap 17 of 71 here at the moment, still going on through. Most of our cars have not taken a pit stop in this race as yet. So those on the soft still running about 16 laps on that set of tires. We got Draft taking the inside into turn 1. See if it's going to be a success at this point or not. Looks like it isn't, because Clarky is doing some serious defending out front with that car, and he's having a bit of a difficult time trying to keep Draft behind. He's now getting around the outside, and looks like he finally got that position back up into the lead of the race. I think Clarky is definitely going to fight him back on it though. And has the inside once again. They're going at it at the same way they did on the previous lap, so let's see how this comes to an end with them. I think Clarky is trying to push it around on the inside, but is not able to get up ahead of the Mercedes at the moment, so has to take back second place and might have to bank it onto the pit stops and possibly try to get that done there. We'll see what's going to happen. But at the moment, Clarky is back down to second. Draft has finally taken back the lead of the race after 18 laps. And he's now going to try and get a gap going against Clarky, as we can see, already up to 9 tenths, trying to keep him out of the DRS range, which will not be good on Clarky's end if he does lose that gap there. So he still does currently have the DRS advantage, using it as much as he can here, trying to keep up. Let's see how well that's going to work for him. And now let's have a look at the rest of the field at the moment. Nick's still running third, not surprisingly, and Walker here running in fourth at the moment, still defending against Atronac though in the Racing Point. We got Beefy running in 6th still in the Red Bull. He's still trying to catch up with Atronac, still keeping the gap pretty close though, about 5 tenths between the two of them here at the moment. I think he's running a pretty good race so far. Extreme is there in 7th. He's another 5 to 6 tenths behind the Red Bull of Beefy and still trying to keep up. Maddie there another 1.5 second behind. Of course, he is out of the DRS range here, so that's not too good on his end. He can clearly see the cars in front of him, so I think he's desperately trying to catch up as much as he can and possibly get into that DRS range. We got Christoph here quite a way back at the moment. He's going to try and catch up and possibly break that gap down if he can. He does have that soft dart to deal with, just about a few tenths behind of him. The delta time is not fixing itself so far, as we can see there. Callum there in 11th at the moment, and he is running just a bit behind, I think a few seconds behind soft dart at the moment. VRS Smitty is in 12th, dealing with Callum in front of him. I think he's trying to take it alongside him there at the moment, possibly taking the inside of turn 1, and might be able to get that position up. Actually does get the overtake done, and he is now up into 11. Calms down to 12, lost the position there. Might be able to get it back a bit later on, of course. Smitty running 19 laps on those soft tires so far. They're definitely going to be giving up on him pretty soon. He's going to have to take a stop, as will the rest of the guys running on these soft tires. We'll see how well they last and how many laps they're actually going to last. I do expect at least by lap 21 they might have to actually do a stop. Let's see if these guys are actually able to push for a one-stop strategy in this race. I'm not sure if that's what the plan is here at the moment. Really didn't have too much discussion with the guys in terms of race strategy, what they're planning on this 100% race, but it is quite possible they might be aiming for that, especially those on the mediums, I would say, because they can run a much long stint and then go on to the hards to go all the way to the end. But I think they might be switching that up just a bit. We'll see how it works out as we get on through the rest of the race. Waxwing down here in 16th, has some time to catch up with. So does Serious Mushroom here. They're still trying to catch back up. They have enough time to do this. Of course, with Serious Mushroom running on the hards, 14 laps done so far, he's going to be running quite a bit into the race with that as well. We're on lap 21 already. For some reason, it seems to be, I feel like we were on lap 19 about 5 seconds ago, but either way, let's continue on with that. So 8 tenths is what the gap is currently between Draft and Clarky here for the lead of the race. Clarky's led for at least 18 laps from the start of the race. They've been fighting it on through for that position quite a while now. And seems like Draft is going to be leading for at least a bit. Clark is trying to keep within the DRS range as much as he can here. Having a bit of a difficult time doing this because he just lost that 1 second gap that he had. Let's see if he's actually able to get it back, because he's not going to have DRS down this pit straight here. Trough gets the fastest lap at 110.5 for race pace time, so doing pretty well out front. And going down to Nick, I can't say he's doing pretty bad at the moment. He's doing pretty well. He's running in a podium position here to finish off this race. And we haven't even gotten to the first round of pit stops for these guys as yet. We got quite a few drivers with penalties. We'll see how that works out going to the end of the race. But so far so good. Walker here running in fourth. No penalties for him so far. Atronak, unfortunately, is in 5th but has a penalty. And he's desperately trying to get past Walker out in front of him. But he, of course, has Beefy just behind of him to deal with as well. So it's a double case for him. He's going to have to figure out what exactly to do here. And he's running on the soft tires. Car in front of him on the mediums. So is it actually worth it for him to try and get by? And there goes Beefy, goes wide on track. Tries to get back on the track here at the moment. And he gets back on. But loses a bit of time to Atronak out front. Extreme is here still chasing after him and has now actually closed the gap between the two of them with that bit of mistake that he just made. We got Savdar running about 5 tenths behind the next Red Bull, and that's of Kristaps there, so now about 3 tenths. So he's actually closing in on that gap. Racing Point not doing overly bad in this race so far. Okay, we got Atronak in 5th, Savdar in 10th, so doing pretty well. Beefy and Kristaps are 6th and 9th so far for Red Bull. And that's going to be a lot of points for the constructors for them as well. There goes Savdar trying to get around the outside right now. And we're getting around to the pit stops for those on the soft tires possibly here right about now. See what's going to happen in that case, because we're on lap 23. We have a few cars going into the pits. Extremist West went into the pits. He's onto the mediums now, getting back out on track. So he's done a switch to mediums. Let's see how long those mediums will last. Definitely will have to be a 2-stop strategy for every car on track here. As let's see how far they're actually, because I highly doubt they're able to push more than 35 laps on those mediums. And hards possibly yes, but I don't think those mediums are able to push it out. We'll see what's going to happen with them. Haven't done 100% race in a very, very long time, so I'm really not sure how the strategy is going to work here and how many laps these stars are actually able to do. So anyway, let's follow on and see let's get back out in front for just a bit, see what's happening out front here. Looks to me like Clarky is having some trouble out here trying to keep up with Drop, because he's now 2.9 seconds behind. He's losing time and might want to start thinking about what to do about these tires here with the pit stop strategy, because I think that's what's going to be saving him. But he's gonna have to figure out what to do exactly. Nick there running 1.9 seconds behind. He's still trying to keep up as much as he can here right now. Keep the gap as close as possible. Beefy there another 7.3 seconds behind. Atronak still chasing after him. And Maddie now up into 6th. I think, no, Beefy's up to 4th because Walker took a stop. He's down to 11th. And he's gone onto the soft tires, which means he's doing... why do we have another error code? I guess I think we should be getting back on. Yes, so gonna have to be a two-stop strategy for most of these cars because I can see Walker has gone on to the soft tires, which means he's probably gonna do a medium soft strategy to go all the way to the end. Those on the softs probably are doing a soft medium medium or a soft medium soft or a soft medium. I'm not sure which is going to be their choice on it, so let's see what's going to happen in that case. We're on with Smitty here in the pit lane at the moment, going on to a set of soft tires here, and definitely we're having some issues with this game here today. Honestly, can't wait until we get on to the next one. This is trying to get a bit annoying with these issues that they keep happening. I think we're just having some server issues today, I'm not sure. And that was Smitty's car getting into the barriers, getting out on track. And we do have a safety car. Something's happened that we did miss. And it looks like Cody and Vintage are out of the race. Unfortunately, we did miss whatever happened there. So we're going to have to continue on that. So that safety car definitely triggered some pit stops to happen there as we were disconnected for that bit of time. And looks like our top three cars, Draft, Clarky, and Nick, have not done stops. And there we go. They're into the pits right now, following just behind each other. So all three cars pitting at the same time. This is going to be a bit interesting now because Clarky is now going to be right up to the rear of Draft's car in terms of getting back out on track. And there goes Droff getting back out already. Clarky going out behind of him. And Nick coming just behind of that there. So they're getting out back just as they were. And I think they're still all going to be in the lead as well. So Droff coming back out in the lead. Going on to the set of soft tires, which means he's doing a medium soft strategy as well. Simply what I mean, guys, he's started the race on a set of mediums. He's now gone into a set of softs, and his next pit stop will be going on to a second set of soft tires to go to the end of the race. Of course, these soft tires are a bit faster than the mediums, so they're hoping for the extra pace to help them out at the end of the race session itself. We'll see how that's going to work. So under the safety car still, I think just about everyone has now taken their pit stops. Serious Mushroom down at the bottom of the grid. He's caught up a bit to Waxwing there. He's about 7.9 seconds behind. Of course, he's still going to have to do another pit stop because he's done about 19 laps on those hard tires so far. So let's see how far he's able to push them, possibly then go on to a set of mediums and go to the end of the race and maybe able to keep getting a few positions up. We'll see how that works out because everyone else does have to do another stop as well. And I think everyone's going to be closing in the gap just a bit as we get on through under this safety car here. So I think we're going to have to go at least one more lap under the safety car before we do get back racing. Currently on lap 26. So still haven't even gotten around to the halfway point of this race as yet. We've lost 4 drivers so far. We're down to 16th remaining. But still a decent number to actually finish off this race with, so can't say that's too bad. Anyway, let's have a look at standings so far. In the meanwhile, we're going on this next lap here because I think at the end of this current lap, we should be getting back racing. Alright, so standings should be up on the screen. Now, as we have for the constructors at the moment, we got Red Bull still leading with 335 points. And they're doing pretty well in this race. So they're looking at getting some more points at this point here. They're leading by about 32 points against Alfa Romeo. And I think both of those drivers are doing pretty well as well. At least one of them doing pretty well. I know Clark is out front in second. He's going to get some decent points there. Mercedes running third in the championship with that, 274 points. Ferrari there in fourth, 152. McLaren down in fifth, 146. We got Renault in 6th, 120. Haas in 7th, 119 points. Then we got Williams there in 8th, 116. I think Beefy's made most of those points. Walker there has made most of those points. I'm not sure how much his teammate has made as well, but I think they've been working on that. But he's trying to catch up to Haas out in front. They're not sure they're going to be able to get past on this race here. Possibly get that team up a position at 2 on the constructors. We'll see what's going to happen with that. But then AlphaTauri there in 9th, 88 points. Racing Point in 10th right now, 60 points there at the moment. Just trying to have a look on screen to see if we're about to get back racing here or not. Doesn't seem... Oh yeah, there we go. So race control just confirmed we're about to get back racing at the end of this lap. So let's just switch on back over to the race session itself and see how this is going to go on that restart after the second safety car in this session so far. So I think in total we've had 2 safety cars and 1 virtual safety car. Not too bad for a Brazilian Grand Prix so far. everyone weaving around the track as much as you can, getting those tires back up to temperature as we're about to get back racing here right now. They did pit under the safety car, so not enough time to actually get it fully back up to temperature, but they should be up to temperature as much as needed there. Drop still leading. Clark is still there in second, trying to chase after him. Walker up to third here at the moment. Nick down to fourth here after that restart where Walker got past him there. Now both of these cars running on these soft tires as well, so quite interesting to see Walker actually get up to third that quickly. Let's see what's going to continue on. Nick in fourth, Beefy running fifth, about 2 tenths behind Nick, so still trying to catch up as much as he can. And quite a close gap between most of our cars, as we can see Atronac chasing after Extremist in the Haas, and about 2 tenths behind, so still looking at getting that position up. You can see Beefy out in front, trying to get past the AlphaTauri of Nick. I'm trying to switch this on over so we can have a look on the overhead cam, see what's happening. Out in front, I see Draft has already gotten a lead against Clarky there, 1.2 seconds, so he's going to keep him out of that DRS range. Once the DRS comes back online, which is not on this current lap, we just got over with a safety car, we have to wait at least a lap more or so before that comes back online. So still following on with Atronac right now. He's chasing after Extremist down into the pit straight, and let's see if he's going to be able to get past him. Drop there getting the fastest lap. Once again, a 109 from him. Not too bad so far. As you can see, lap times are going to get faster and faster as we get on through. And we definitely have some connection issues as that Racing Point is having some issues there. And he is out of the race. That's a virtual safety car for that incident. I'm not sure what happened to Atronac there, but he somehow lost control of that car and ended up in the barriers on the side. The entire suspension on the right side is gone. That car is actually done for there. So that's going to be a virtual safety car for that issue to be cleared off track. And whatever debris on track will be cleared off as well. So second VSC for the race so far. Unfortunate for Atronac though, he was running pretty high up. Now it's all up to Safdar to get some points in for a Racing Point here. And he's running in 8th at the moment. And that VSC is over. We're back racing once again. Clarky is caught up just a bit here with Draft. He's back under a second. And he's going to hope that he can keep that advantage and possibly get back the DRS advantage to work with going for the rest of the race. We got a few drivers down in the back of the grid with penalties so far. We will be bringing that back online in just a bit to have a look and see how that's going. On board right now where Clark is, see if he's able to get past Draft here on this occasion. Lap 30 at the moment. We're approaching that halfway point of this race. On a usual Sunday, we will be approaching the... what on earth is happening? I'm not even sure because, as I said, we seem to be having some definite connection issues here at the moment because cars are having trouble on track, which I think is what happened to Atronac. I'm not sure. Because I think he was getting a bit disconnected. If he does get on chat, they will probably know exactly what happened to him. Because I'm not entirely sure what's happening here this Sunday evening. Because cars are currently all over the place. I'm trying to have a look in Discord to see what exactly has been happening. I'm not even entirely sure, but we're going to go with it either way and see what's going to go on for the rest of the race here. Currently we're on board with Walker here, chasing after Clarky for second place, but he's a bit behind, at least 1.8 seconds behind, but still running in a podium position right now. So he's not running too bad with that. Draft still leads, Clarky in second, Nick in fourth, Beefy running fifth, not a bad position for him. Currently on a set of mediums, done 5 lap on them, and we got a bit of an accident just happened there with Walker and someone else, and I'm not sure who that exactly happened. We're trying to have a look, see if we can see what happened exactly. Not entirely sure what just happened there. That might have been a glitch that just caused that incident as well. But we're having several incidents happen here this Sunday evening, and that's Walker out of the race, unfortunately now. I think there was another car involved in that as well. And there goes, we're disconnected once again. Definitely having some connection issues. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this race. If we're going to have to can it and possibly do it back, we'll see what's going to happen. Okay, so we're back on once again, and we got a safety car because of that incident with Walker there, unfortunately. Down to 14 drivers in this race right about now. And we're starting to close in on the halfway point. You might see a few more pit stops happen. Let's get our stats back up on screen so we can see what exactly is happening. There it goes again. Okay, it looks like that safety car is overweight and we're back racing again. I'm not sure if we're going to have another disconnection. I've lost count now how many times we got disconnected off of this lobby here. I'm not sure what's happening. Everyone seems to be glitching all over the place at the moment. And I think it's been causing incidents in the race so far, which is why we've lost so many drivers. Because usually we do not lose this amount of drivers in a PGL race. So I'm not sure what exactly is happening with the server itself. Might be just having an off day with this. Either way, let's see how the restart has gone so far. Mikey here in 6th, chasing after the Ferrari in front of him. So still pretty close off in most cars if they just gone off from a safety car. Okay, so let's see as much as we can keep up with this, see what's going on here. So on board right now with Mikey, but that delta time is not updating as it should, because it does show like he's less than 10 behind, but he's about 8 tenths behind right about now. Just keep up here as much as we can. We might be having some other issues. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the streamer right about now. Either way, let's continue on. Sure, hopefully everything is fine on the other end. Serious Mushroom, fortunately for him, he's now up into 11th on the grid. Running on that same set of hard tires that he was on for quite a number of laps. 29 laps. Now we're on lap 35. So let's count that at least up being halfway through the race so far. Unfortunate to see quite a few drivers out, but we're going to continue on with the 14 that we do have here at the moment. And let's see how the gaps are closing out in front. Should have a look at our race leaders here at the moment, because Clarky is still not back into that DRS range here. He's trying to catch up as much as he can, but I think he's having a bit of difficult time just keeping up with a draft out in front of him. 1.3 seconds is what the gap is. Alright, let's bring up penalties and see what we're dealing with so far. So far for penalties, we do have Extremist with 6 seconds. He's running up in 4th, but he's going to have a difficult time finishing up this race and getting a really good position with 6 seconds of penalties. Hopefully he's able to deal with that in some way. I'm not sure. Clarky just got a 3-second penalty. Starting to feel the pressure of trying to keep up with a draft out front for the lead of the race. He's trying to get back under a second and try to get that DRS advantage back alive for him, and hopefully able to catch up with it as it is so far. Savdar there, another 3-second penalty for him. Callum there, 6. We got Smitty with 3. Those 3 seconds are not too bad. Serious Machine there with a 3-second as well. Neil Kristaps and Waxwing having 6 seconds of penalties so far, unfortunately. Either way, let's get back to tires and see where we're going to be with that before we close off the end of this race. So Drop still leads. 1.4 seconds where the gap right now is, with Clarky behind of him. He's desperately trying to catch up, but not having the DRS advantage is going to be affecting him just a bit right about now. We got Beefy just behind these two coming around turn 1 here right about now as well. Okay guys, back on once again. I'm dying trying to keep this stream alive here right about now. Without the setup that we have, I think we'd have restarted and possibly have split this stream in about 25 different parts so far if it wasn't for this new setup. So either way, we're going to keep going with it, and hopefully we're able to make it all the way to the end. Currently on lap 39 of 71. That gives us about 22 laps or so more to go in this race, which is really not that much of a long time left. It's about 70% of our usual races that we do. So let's see if we can get all the way to the end. Hopefully without maybe more than 3 more disconnections, because I do expect there might be more Alright, so far as we have it, let's see what's been happening on track. Let me get my stats up on screen so I can keep an eye on what's been going on so far in terms of the race itself. So it seems like we have Draw still leading this race. We got Beefy now running second on the grid here. We got Extremist is up to third, Maddie up to fourth, Mikey running fifth, Softdar running in sixth, Nick in seventh, Callum in eighth, Smitty there ninth, Sears Mushroom all the way up to 10th. And we got Christoph running 11th, Neil in 12th, Waxwing 13th, and for some reason we have Clarky down to 14th. We missed whatever happened with him, and I think we can see what exactly happened. He probably has some sort of issue, lost control of the car maybe, and took some serious damage to that car. He's trying to get back into the pits here right now. I think he's about to approach that there at the moment. He might be going on to a set of mediums to take it all the way to the end of the race. We got a yellow flag situation in Sector 3, so let's see if he is going to be going on to the mediums. I assume that's what he's going to be doing here right about now, going as slow as he can into the pit lane. Losing a lot of time here right about now, about 37 seconds behind, and I think he's probably retired his car off the race there, unfortunately. Anyway, let's continue on with our drivers. Out in front, Draw still leads, Beefy in second. Now 6.4 seconds is what the gap is. He's running on 14 lap old mediums. We got dropped on 13 laps on his soft, so let's see how that strategy works out with them. Of course, Beefy has some cars behind of him to deal with. We got Extremist just about 3 tenths behind, Maddie another 4 tenths, Mikey another 6 tenths, and Safdar another 7 tenths behind. So quite a few cars running in the mix here, fighting it off for some really good positions, hopefully for some podium positions right now, because Extremist does have that penalty to deal with. I think it's 6 seconds is what it is, so it's going to be interesting to see how it works out for him with that as well. Let's have a look at position changes, see what we're looking at for driver of the day. And Safdar so far is all the way up into 6th position. He's gained 11 positions from the start of this race, so he's looking pretty good so far with that. We'll see if he's able to carry that through to the end of the race. And yep, so as we said, we got a few cars running just close up behind each other so far, still trying to fight for positions, as we still got quite a way more to go, at least 20 laps more left in this race, and that's going to start to calm down pretty quickly. They come off close off to the end, so let's see if we can make it all the way there without another disconnection of the lobby here. Thankfully, we had quite a few extra invites from the guys on I think someone just, it looks like someone swerved off down at the back. I'm not sure what happened there. Yes, we did have quite a few invites. Hopefully we can get quite a few more before, if we do get disconnected. I think I got 1 extra invite left, so hopefully we don't get more than 1 disconnection more to go, and we can make it all the way to the end of this race with the stream here. So let's see what's gonna happen. Pretty close gap between Beefy and Extremist here at the moment. We got Maddie and Mikey going side by side down just behind there. That's a Mercedes and Ferrari fighting it off for that position. Let's see what's happening with these two, as those two out in front will fight off with the 3:10 gap there as well. 13 drivers currently remain with about 19.5 laps left to go. Has been a decent race so far, except for the minor issues we're experiencing, possibly just on my end. I'm not sure as yet. Trying to have a look on the overhead cam, see what's happening. So we got some DRS advantage in play right about now. And we got some pit stops happening here as well. We got Beefy into the pit lane. Let's see what the change of strategy is going to be for him here. And looks like he's getting onto a set of soft tires to go all the way to the end of the race. So on lap 43 at this point here, leaves him about 18 laps to work on those medium tires. So I think that's quite possible at this point, probably 17 to 18 laps. And I think that's quite doable on the soft tires. So he's going to go to the end of the race on that set. Going back out front, we got both Mercedes running pretty well in the race so far now, because we got Droff still leading, 16 laps done on his soft tires so far. Extremist running in second, 19 laps on his mediums. We got Mikey running third in the next Mercedes, 18 laps on his soft tires so far. Maddie just behind him in the Ferrari, another 17 laps on his soft. Safdar up to 5th now with 17 laps done on his hard tires, and he's going to be doing one more stop with the rest of the grid, I assume here, and he's possibly going to be able to get back that exact position. Of course, he does have a penalty along with Extremist there. We're going to see how that's going to work for them, and that's Mikey getting off track, reset it to the track, which I don't think is allowed, so that might be penalized later on after the race. So back out in front, Troff still leads with about 8.8 seconds ahead of Extremist, so he has a pretty good gap going with him there. Let's see how much longer he's able to carry that through. He might carry that all the way to the end of the race. He's been pretty strong in this session so far. Has dominated qualifying 1, qualifying 2, and qualifying 3, and started on pole here, and he's currently leading this race. Majority of the race led so far. The first 18 laps didn't get to lead those, as he's lost that lead for Clarky there. Of course, Clarky now out of the race, unfortunately, because of his previous incident there, then retired from the session. We're trying to keep up with these guys as much as we can going down to the end. Down here with Nick in 5th. He's still chasing after the Racing Point in front of him. A bit of a close gap between all these cars. So let's see who's going to be finishing in what position, because quite a few cars now with the penalties. And Beefy just took his stop. He's down to 11th on the grid. Of course, cars in front of him will have to do one more stop before going to the end of the race, because these tires that they do have on has done quite a number of laps, and minimum 15 and above. So they will have to do another stop before they are able to get off to the end of the race. So those tires are not going to make it. We'll see when Trough does decide to take a stop here. He's done 18 laps on those soft tires so far. I assume he possibly would be taking a stop within the next 2 to 3 laps or so, and getting to maybe a new set of soft tires to go all the way to the end of the race. We'll see if that's going to be what the case is going to be there. Extremists though looking pretty good to still get a podium position here, but 6 seconds of penalties is not going to work too well, because he does have at least 3 cars behind of him, pretty close off. There we got Maddie, Sofdar, and Nick are within a few tenths, within a second total of each other, just behind of him. So he's going to have to be a bit careful with that. He might be losing at least 3 to 4 positions, going down to 6 maybe. That is, of course, if things continue as it is right now. On board right now with Nick. Let's see if he's able to use DR's advantage and possibly get ahead of Sofdar. He does have some overtake to use as well. I think he's trying to keep some of that, but he's using a bit of it right now. We're out in front. We got Extremist and Maddie fighting for a position there as well. We might have some contact happening between those 2 cars as well at the moment. I don't think he took any damage off of it, but they're still going at it, and we can see the Racing Point trying to keep his position, but Nick getting on the outside has gotten up into 4th. Sofdar is now down back to 5th there. Those hard tires are probably starting to get a bit worn on him. We've done 20 laps so far, but they should still have, I think, a decent amount of grip. But I think compared to Nick's medium there, with 13 laps on them, he might have a better chance of keeping that car in 4th and possibly extending that lead just a bit. Out in front, 13.5 seconds is what the gap is between Draft and Extremist, and I don't see him taking a stop as yet. Down to about 12.4 seconds. And a pretty close gap between our few cars fighting for the final podium position here. Of course, Extremist not going to be getting that with a 6-second penalty. So see what's going to happen in the case of final pit stops happening very soon, because we're on lap 47 of 71 right about now. Possibly got another 15 to 20 minutes. I think another 20 minutes or so left for this race. So far, 18 to 20 minutes at least. I guess there probably will be another 45 minutes maybe, but I don't think it's going to go that long, being a Brazilian Grand Prix, depending on this amount of laps and how long a lap takes around here. So I think it'll probably be another 20 minutes on the race stream, if you guys are wondering how much more time we got with it before we get to the end and get to lap 71, just averaging. Let's get back up to Maddie here, chasing pretty close off behind with Extremist, and Nick is keeping up as much as he can. So Extremist under a lot of pressure right now with that 6-second penalty, plus having 2 cars right now chasing after him for that position. And they all have to take a pit stop. I think they're just waiting on Draft out in front to take his stop, and they're all going to just be following on behind and be just a train of cars going into the pit lane. We'll see if that's going to be what the case is going to be here. So far as we have it, they're running pretty close up behind each other and doing a good job so far, because we haven't seen any major contact or any damage off of them chasing after each other and fighting for positions. but it's been pretty close between these three at the moment. Of course, this allows Trough to just get further and further ahead out front. His gap is now 13.8 seconds against Extremis there, and he's going to take a stop and still get back his lead quite comfortably out front. I don't think he should have any issues with that. Got a minor bit of gap between most of our other drivers at the moment, so Droff still leads Extremis at 1 second. He's not looking at keeping a podium position at the end of this here though, because 24 laps now done on those mediums. I definitely think he has to take a stop at some point here. Maybe around lap 50 is when they're going to do this and go the final few laps on the set of soft tires. I'm not sure. Are they really trying to push these tires all the way to the end of the race? We'll see if that's what the case is going to be here. I'm not sure as yet. Okay, so still following on with this as we have a gap still extending a bit out front, 14.7 seconds now between Extremis and Draft. I think he's just going to be keeping that position all the way to the end of the race, but we'll see what happens. We still got at least 21 laps. No, it's about 21 laps. Sorry, my bad. I was kind of counting that wrong. It's about 21 laps left about now. So I think this is the point where they're going to be taking their final pit stops. Maybe right around here. I think it was about 30 laps before. I said it was about 20. I think I got that mixed up. Either way, let's see if anyone's going to be taking a stop at this point, because it's a pretty close call between these tires as we have it, especially those on the soft tires doing about 20 something laps so far. They're going to start to be wearing away pretty quickly here now, and they're going to start to lose some grip. I assume around this point, so they should be taking a stop at some point. We'll see when they do decide to do that. Trough, there's 23 laps on his soft so far. Doesn't seem to be affecting him much as he's running in pretty clean here out front here, as you can see, and he's extending his gap just a bit more, about to hit 15 seconds between him and Extremis for that lead. So looking pretty difficult for someone to be getting past him unless he makes some sort of severe mistake or gets taken out of this race in some way. So Extremis still running second, a 7:10 gap between him and Maddie down in third. And Matt is looking pretty good at getting onto a podium position for second place. Nick looking pretty good at getting onto a podium position for third place. But Extremis will fall down quite a few positions here because of that 6-second penalty. Might be all the way down to 5th or even 6th. Just depends on how badly this is going to go for him. Might just be 5th. I'm not sure. Just depends on what the gaps are going to be like. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we get on through. A bit of a gap going with the rest of the field so far. 1 to at least 4 seconds down at the bottom of the grid. Beefy down in 8th at the moment. He's taking his final stop already. He's done 7 laps now on that set of tires he was on. I think we got a few cars into the pits here. We got Callum, Mikey, and I think Smitty as well. Neil probably as well into the pits. Changing off to their final set of soft tires. Let's see what's going to happen out front. Currently following on with that Ferrari of Maddie there, and he has a car in front and a car behind. I think he's trying to keep the position for as long as he can here before they all do a pit stop, or the final pit stop before getting to the end. I think it's about 20 laps now left in the race, so they come that way to about 20-25 minutes more at least. And Neil gets a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. Where is Neil running? He's running 7th at the moment. Not a good point right now getting that amount of penalties. We'll see what's going to happen in that case. We got Maddie getting into the pits along with our race leader Trough into the pits there as well. Getting onto his final set of soft tires there to get back out. That's going to be his final pit stop. And let's see where he comes back out on track. Of course, the cars in front of him will have to do a final pit stop as well. So he's going to be getting back the lead of the race. Either way at this point, I think the only way they're catching back up to him is if we have another safety car in this race, which doesn't seem as likely at this point here. Now Extremis is out into the lead of the race. Nick now running in second, and Draft is back out on track. He's about 3.3 seconds behind Nick in the AlphaTauri at the moment, so he's going to try and catch up. Those first soft tires definitely will work well with him, so he's going to not have too much trouble actually catching back up. So gaps are going to be changing around just a bit for now, at least until most of the cars take back their pit stop that they have to take. I think there's a few cars out in front, at least 3 drivers out in front, Extremis, Nick, and Christoph, to take another pit stop. And that should be it for at least for pit stops in the race. Unless someone does take any damage, I think then they will be doing another stop. And there goes Nick, gets past Extremis through turn 1, takes over the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix right about now, at least for now. He's done 20 laps on his mediums, Extremis has done 29 laps, so he has a bit more lifespan on his tires, I would say. We do have Extremis trying to come back on the inside of him, but didn't get that move done. He's still going to keep fighting him for that position until the both of them do decide to take a pit stop. They're going to have to, because they can't make it all the way to the end of the race on that set of tires that they currently have on there. So we will see these 3 cars do another stop, and let's see when they do decide to do it, because Christoph's running just behind his teammate Beefy there. He's about 3 tenths behind, losing a bit of time right now, and 22 laps done on his tires, so he definitely will have to do a stop as well, go on to a set of softs and go to the end of the race on that. I think we're going to wait on these 3 guys to actually do their stop before we have back a look at the penalties as they are there right now, and see who's possibly getting driver of the day awarded from the game on this one. And there we go, still getting the penalties in the race, so still gonna see where we stand at the end of this. Without, I think cars without the penalties stand a very good chance of gaining quite a few positions at the end of this, just because of the case of penalties will drop a few drivers down by positions here. I think Nick currently looking at getting second place in this race, because he's now leading, and will have Trough get past him once he decides to do his pit stop here. So let's see how much further he's able to push on those set of tires that he currently has on. I think he's trying to extend a gap a bit, but Trough has already caught up quite well to them out in front. And we do have a safety car going on, which will help Nick to get into the pits here right about now. Let's see if he's going to be doing that as they're in Sector 3. I'm not sure what's caused that. I think that's something possibly with wax swing. I'm not even sure if that was the incident there, but something did happen on track causing that to happen there. So we're down to 12 drivers left in the race at this point here right now. Not too bad of a numbers to deal with. Well, let's have a look on board here to see. And it does look like Nick and Extremis both might be going into the pits, and yep, they are. I don't think Droff needs to do another stop. He already just did one, so he's going to be continuing on and take back the lead of the race right about now. Let's see where this puts Nick though, as he's about to get back out here. This might save him positions here just a bit as well, as a few cars behind him are taking another stop. Kristaps is already in the pits here as well, so I think that's going to complete pit stops for everyone, and we're going to go straight on to the end of the race after this round of stops. I think this is like our 3rd or 4th safety car. I haven't even counted how much exactly we did have. Alright, so back out on track. Now, the fact that we're under the safety car does help out Nick here a lot, because he's going to be able to catch up and break down that gap of 16 seconds that he has between him and Droft there, because Droft he's going to have to run under the limits of the safety car out in front, which means he can't be driving at full speed. So gap is going to be broken down. Everyone's going to be caught in the back up, and I think all 12 drivers should be able to get within a few tenths of each other before we get back started with this race. We'll see if that's going to be what the case is going to be. Not sure about Smitty and Neil down in the back of the grid. They have a bit of a gap between them, but they still might stand a pretty good chance of catching back up. Okay, so back onto this so far. So 12 drivers still left in this and about to get back racing pretty soon. We're just waiting for that safety car to be over with. So Trout still leads this race, has led most of the laps, I would say, at least half of the race he's led. And looks like he stands a pretty good chance of finishing and winning this race. Nick looks like he stands a pretty good chance of possibly winning this race or just finishing there in second. That is, of course, he needs to make sure he doesn't get a penalty. Extreme is there in third, having a 6-second penalty, I think is what he has now. Actually has a 9-second penalty, so not looking too good so far. Savdar having a 3-second penalty, Maddie there having no penalties at all, looking pretty good at possibly getting a third place on the grid with being on the podium there. Marky there looking to finish possibly in fourth. We'll see how that works out because with Extremist and Salvador having penalties, that's going to push them down the order a bit. Beefy there in 7th, possibly hoping to get a few positions up. We got Callum there in 8th, has a drive-through penalty to serve after the safety car is over. That's going to push him down quite a few positions. Serious Martian running in 9th so far. We got Christoph running 10th, Smitty running 11th, and Neil running there in 12th. And we're hoping right about now on lap 57 at the moment, and hopefully at the end of this we do get back to racing. So we got about 12 to 13 laps maybe of racing left to go here before we close off this session. Neil has about a 35-second gap, I think, to the cars in front of him. He's trying to catch back up here right now. Hopefully he's able to catch up before the restart happens. Alright, so he's back out on track after that bit of damage he just took there. I think he just lost a bit of control of the car and ended up off track there, but unfortunately that puts him down into 12 and pushes up a few drivers to a few positions now. So he's losing quite a lot of points by being out of the top 10 here, but let's see if he's able to get back that. Still has about 11 laps before we close off the race, so not a lot of time to work with though. He's going to have to try as much as he can to catch up. Getting back out in front here though, Nick only about 8 tenths behind Draft, chasing after him for the lead and doesn't have a penalty, so I think he's probably just hoping that Draft gets a penalty before we get to lap 71. That's going to just automatically give him the race win if he's able to do that. But Nick not running too bad here at the moment, 7 tenths. If he's able to keep this gap as close as it is going all the way to the end, he's definitely getting second place on the podium. And looks like Extremist and Safdar will be losing positions though because of their penalties. That's going to put Mikey and Beefy up 2 positions each here, and that means that Mikey gets third place on the podium. Beefy will probably finish the race in 4th, get a decent amount of points to put towards the Drivers' Championship there as well. We'll see how well that works out for him. Kristaps there might be going up a position, not sure how well it works out with the penalty, but Extreme is having 9 seconds. He's going to be losing quite a few positions, and I think going a position below Safdar, even though both of them going down because of penalty. We'll see how it works out. But Kristaps, Serious Mushroom, Smitty, they all have penalties as well, so I think the most they're going to be going down is down to 6th. Probably 5th and 6th, so probably Extreme is down to 6th and Safdar down to 5th maybe. We'll see how it works out for them before we close off the race there. DRS advantage still alive for a few drivers in this race on lap 61 at the moment. 10 laps remaining to go. Now 62, but that leaves a full 10 laps to go here right about now. Out in front though, interestingly enough, Nick is able to keep the gap under a second, so he does have the DRS advantage going all the way to the end of the race, and hopefully he's able to keep it that way, as he does have a Draft in his sight but not able to get close enough. He needs to get at least 2 tenths behind in order to try and attempt an overtake at this point here, and that's proving to be just a bit difficult for him at the moment. I think he's just trying to keep it as close as he can. Even 2nd place will not be a bad finish for this race here. Being 100% race and able to finish on the podium in 2nd place, not going to be a bit of a disappointment for him. That I think he's still gonna want that P1 position. But let's see if he's able to get it. Anything can happen in the next 9 to 10 laps that we have remaining here. I'll go back on the overhead camera and see what's happening, because he seems to be losing the lead just a bit here in terms of the gap that he has. It's down to about 9 tenths right about now. Needs to keep it under a second in order to keep the DRS advantage alive. Otherwise, he will not have that. He will just be using his overtake, which I don't think possibly is going to be enough for him to keep the position that he currently has. Let's have a look on what's happening with Red Bull right about now. They're running 6th and 7th in this race at the moment. Of course, that's not going to be the finishing positions. I think they might even it out though, because Beefy is going to gain at least 2 positions because of drivers in front having penalties. Kristaps, though, having a penalty himself, might actually finish right there where he is. We'll have a look at his penalty, see where exactly we're at with them. So I think that, yeah, Kristaps might actually have to finish right there. Safdar and Extremist, though, will be losing their positions as it is there at the moment. We're back on board again with Beefy here. See what's happening between him and Mikey. He's chasing after Mikey. 5/10 is where the gap is. He's trying to close it in, using that DRS advantage. He doesn't have any overtake left to use, so he's using everything he has at the moment, trying to keep up with the car in front. Having a bit of a difficult time though, and his teammate is trying to follow him on through. And hopefully, and Christoph just got another penalty that puts him to about, I'm not even sure what penalty he has there right about now, but at least 9 seconds. So not looking too well for the next Red Bull driver there. Needs to avoid the penalties at all costs at this point in the race. Getting this close down to the finish, they need to just avoid getting any more penalties. Maddie there running in 12, doesn't have a single penalty, and he's looking up to get past Neil, and actually does do it. So he's now up to 11th, and he might be looking at getting up into a 10th position, possibly getting that position depending on what the penalty situation is out in front of him. We'll see how that's going to work for him, because he might actually get into the top 10, holding it off so far in this race. We've lost 8 drivers from the start of this race coming to this point. That's kind of a significant number to deal with, but still, at least we have just over half the amount of drivers will be able to finish off. We got Droff getting the fastest lap out in front at 108.5. He's now 1.2 seconds ahead of Nick, and trying to keep it that way. Extremist losing some time there as well. They're starting to space off just a little bit here right about now, but Beefy still keeping his gap just about half a second between him and Mikey out in front. I think he definitely is looking to get that overtake done before the race comes to an end. If he can get past Mikey, he might be looking at getting a podium position at the end of this race, but he needs to get that overtake done with. His tires are about 4 laps fresher than what Mikey has on at the moment, so he's able to use that maybe to his advantage. He might be able to get by, but he needs to keep himself in that DRS range, close the gap as much as he can, and use whatever overtake he has left. And they have just about an even amount between the two cars, so we'll see how well it works out between it, because I think it's going to be down to these two to see who's going to be finishing 3rd place on the podium, because it looks like Draft is going to be winning the Brazilian Grand Prix. Nick is going to be finishing 2nd place on the podium, but depending on who finishes 3rd is going to be between Mikey and Beefy here at the moment. So let's see who is able to hold on to 5th, because that's going to be determining who gets 3rd place at the end of this race. And Beefy does have his teammate coming pretty close up behind, so I think he's going to be keeping off any car that might try to get past him. But though I think that's going to be serious mushroom, who's about 6.7 seconds behind, so he still is quite a way behind. Not to be worried too much about that. We're on lap 66 here at the moment. We're going to get into lap 67 pretty soon. Literally just a few minutes left more to go in this race. Not a long time left, not a lot of laps left, and I think Beefy just might have just gone a bit wide. No, actually didn't go wide. I think that was just a bit of glitch on my end happening there. Alright, so by the time I think we get to wrong, maybe lap 69, we'll probably put back that penalty situation back online to have a look at what's exactly happening with that. Gap is closing between these two here at the moment, lap after lap. So let's see if that overtake is going to be over with before we get maybe to lap 70. Beefy's going to have to keep it going all the way to the end, because this definitely is a position he wants to get at the end of this race. Does want to finish on the podium, and he's looking for a gap around the outside. Of course, blocked off just a bit, not able to get it as yet. And he's very close up behind, at least a 10th behind Mikey right now. So this is going to be getting quite interesting going down to the end of the race. It might end pretty badly, it might end very well. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we might be seeing potentially one of these cars might get some damage depending on how hard they push for that position, because Mikey is going to defend as much as he can, and he wants to be finishing 3rd place, and Beefy is going to push as well, because he's fighting for points in the Drivers' Championship at the moment here. And I think finishing 3rd definitely does give him a substantial amount of points. And let's see if that's going to make a difference in terms of him winning the championship as well. And looks like Safdar and Nick have switched positions out front. Not sure what's going on with the two of them. Gap is now down to about 3/10 between Mikey and Beefy, and just in case you guys are wondering why they're fighting so hard, it's because Mikey is currently leading the Drivers' Championship and Beefy is running second just behind of him. So they're kind of fighting for that right about now. So this is going to be continuing on, possibly going on to next week. We'll see if it's going to be finishing off here, depending on how much points these two score against each other and where they actually land at the end of it. But I don't think either of them are going to be giving this up right about now. Mikey wants to continue off with his lead, and Beefy definitely needs to get as much points as he can to keep the championship alive to the next race if he needs to at this point. His teammate is catching up pretty decently to him and about to get by. I'm not sure if that's going to be allowed at this point here, being that Beefy is fighting for the Drivers' Championship. Of course, either way, it's points for both teammates, but I'm not sure if Beefy is going to want to let him go by at this point, even if he is faster at this point. Lap 69 at the moment, so let's bring penalties online. Actually, let's have a look quickly at position changes. Looks like it's going to be Softar getting driver of the day. He's all the way up to third, but he's going to be losing about 2 positions going down, but he still might get driver of the day with that there. Let's go on to penalties and keep it there for now going. So 2 Red Bulls still fighting against each other and fighting against some Mercedes there as well. Out in front though, Extremist has lost the gap quite a lot there. 4.6 seconds is what Draft is by ahead of him. Still has a 9-second penalty. Softar still with a 3-second penalty. Nick there looking to get second place in this race. And between Mikey and Beefy for third place. Let's see how well that's going to go. Of course, it does depend on Softar with his penalty situation, because he's a 3-second penalty. And now Mikey is now 3 seconds behind. 3.1 seconds behind Nick. So it does look like Softar might just go down by 1 position here if these guys are not able to close that gap below about 2 seconds at least to keep that position. So it's no longer a fight for that position, as we can see. And Softar is now ahead of Extremist. He's up into second place in the race, and that's going to put him in quite a substantial position. He's now looking at finishing and keeping a podium position at this point here. Let's see how well that's going to work out for him, because it does seem like it might actually work at this point. He might just be able to keep third place on the podium by the end of this race. We're on lap 70 and going on through, and this is going to come down very, very close to the end to see who keeps what position. Down in the bottom grid, I think the penalties stand for itself for the rest of them, but out in front here, I think between Softar, Extremist, Nick, Mikey and Beefy, the positions are going to be switching around just a bit. Gap is now 3.8 seconds between Draft and Softar is catching up out in front by a significant pace right about now. I'm not sure where but he's out of laps. We're on the final lap here right now, and that's lap 71 of 71. So it has been an exciting race coming to this point, with all of the disconnections, with all of the incidents in the race. But still, we've had 12 drivers who have made it onto the final lap and to get it wrong. Let's see who finishes in what position, because I'm not even sure how this works out as yet. But Draft is leading and currently in sector 2 at the moment. Nick right about now trying to get past Extremist on the outside, and let's see if he gets that done. Does get the position up. He's up into third place, and he's going to be looking to get second place by the end of the race here, and Softar should be down to third. Extremist should be losing another 2 positions still. Let's see how that works out with him, as I'm trying to keep an eye with Draft going across the line. This guy's quite an interesting race for the entire session, I gotta say, going. As I say, he's dominated qualifying 1, 2, and 3. Started on pole and lost the lead to Clarky on that start for about 18 laps. Got the lead back and has led from that point coming to this point. And now he gets across the line and takes the win for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Not a bad finish for him. Softar will go across the line second, but not able to keep it. Nick will go across third and switch it with him. Takes second place. Softar takes third. Extremely goes across and goes down to 6 because of his 9-second penalty. Mikey takes 4th. Beefy takes 5th. And Christoph will take 7th in the next Red Bull. Serious Mushroom going across the line for 8th position. He should be able to keep that. With Smitty coming behind of him, 9 seconds of penalties, will be able to keep 9th position, getting across there. Of course, let's have a look at the rest of them. Callum here coming in 10th, 12 seconds of penalties.
and that's going to put him down a position there, and that's going to put Maddie up into 10th. He definitely will get in 10th and should be getting at least 1 point in the race there. So still held it on through and still gets to get into the top 10 at the end of this. And there goes the switch. Maddie goes into 10, Callum 11, and Neil, final car to get across the line here in 12. Still made it to finish a 71 lap race and gets across the line in 12th position. Not a bad finish still, even though with the point situation as it is. And driver of the day goes to Salvador. Can't say he doesn't deserve that one. He started down in the back of the grid, had a horrible qualifying one, and finished all the way up on top in the top 3 there, I think it was. So not a bad race at all for him. I think the rest of the league might give driver of the day to him as well when they do vote on that. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so let's have a look at the preliminary results before the reports start to go into the stewards. So, Drops in the Mercedes got the race win on this one, got the fastest lap as well, got fastest lap in Q1, Q2, and Q3, and the race itself, so not a bad weekend race for him, and decent win. Nick here finishes second because of a penalty from Salvador. He goes down to third, so not a bad finish for him. He finishes on the podium after starting 17th on the grid there, so interesting race from him. Mikey there finishes 4th. We got Beefy up to 5th. They gain a position each because of Extremist having 9 seconds of penalties going down to 6. Crystals finishes 7th on the grid, even with the penalty that he has. Serious Mushroom takes 8. Smitty takes 9. And Maddie takes 10 because of Callum having a 12-second penalty. Neil finishes 13, and I think that was it who finished the race. Waxwing was going to get 13 there, Clarky in 14, Walker 15, Atronax 16, Vintage 17, Cody 18, Darren 19, and Ryan there in 13. Excellent race from the guys, and we got one more weekend of racing left here at PGL coming next week for Silverstone for 250% race and a full qualifying session just before that. I think it's going to be a reverse grid for the second race, so we'll see how that weekend goes. Well, thanks to everyone who joined on to the stream, everyone who liked the stream, shared it out. Thanks very much to all of you guys who joined on, and we'll see you guys again next week for the next esports race. Not sure if we're going to be on Wednesday for a PGL Wednesday. We'll see what's going to happen with that, and we'll see what's going to be done during the course of the week. Check the Discord, link is in the description of the video, and we'll be updating when the next stream is going to be then.